Well, welcome to the 700 Club. The next presidential election is more than a year and a half away, and one issue is already emerging as a potentially huge factor: abortion.
The parties are digging in deeper on their positions, with Democrats expanding the right to an abortion while Republicans are trying to protect the unborn. And the courts are involved as well. George Thomas has the story.
Late Thursday, in what was a significant test of the Supreme Court's newly strengthened conservative majority, the justices ruled 5-4 to temporarily block a Louisiana abortion law from taking effect today. Chief Justice John Roberts joined the 4 liberal justices to prevent a law that would require abortion doctors to have admitting privileges at nearby hospitals. The ruling comes after Democrats in New York shocked millions of Americans by passing a law that makes abortion legal even up to the point of birth. The state's governor hailing it as the most aggressive women's rights achievement in the nation.
This administration defies American evolution. We're supposed to be moving forward. We're supposed to be advancing. We're supposed to live and learn. We're supposed to be growing.
Democrats in Virginia tried to pass a similar law but failed. The New Mexico House has passed a bill that would make abortion legal throughout all 9 months of a pregnancy if Roe v. Wade is overturned. If the state Senate passes it, the Democratic governor says she'll sign it. In Vermont, lawmakers there want to pass a bill that critics say would make abortion an absolute right for any reason. It's all part of an aggressive campaign by abortion advocates and groups like NARAL and others who want to significantly expand access to abortion in states where Democrats won last fall. President Trump and GOP lawmakers are pushing back.
To defend the dignity of every person, I am asking Congress to pass legislation to prohibit the late-term abortion of children who can feel pain in the mother's womb.
While Trump's call for a ban on late-term abortions is unlikely to happen in Congress, Republican legislators in several states like Florida, Kentucky, Ohio, South Carolina, and Tennessee are campaigning for tougher anti-abortion measures, like the heartbeat law that would ban abortions after a fetal heartbeat is detected. Meanwhile, House Republicans want legislation that would require mandatory medical care for late-term abortions where the fetus is alive outside the mother's womb.
I want to ask mothers across this country to join with us to make sure that we don't see our maternity wards turned into killing fields.
And while Democrats in more states try to introduce far-reaching abortion rights bills, polls show the public is against such measures. While 60% of Americans believe abortion should be legal in the first 3 months of pregnancy, only 28% support abortion in the second trimester. And that number plummets to just 13% for abortions during the third trimester. George Thomas, CBN News.
I would submit the debate is no longer about abortion, it's about infanticide. When you look and say, okay, mother's in labor, she's fully dilated, and now's the time for an abortion, that's not an abortion. That's killing a full-term child. It's amazing to me that our country has gotten to this level and that people would stand and applaud that kind of law coming into being, where you have that kind of permission. And the commentary on what happened in Virginia, yes, the bill was defeated, but it's absolutely astounding that you would have a physician say a baby could be born and then could be legally killed. That is absolutely shocking. We get to vote on it, and that vote is coming up pretty quick. In other news, members of both parties put aside their political differences Thursday to come together on something that unites them: prayer. John Jessup has that story from our CBN News Bureau in Washington. John?
That's right, Gordon, and the powerful images are still circulating on social media after thousands of faith leaders and lawmakers from around the world met right here in Washington for the annual National Prayer Breakfast. Abigail Robertson brings us a look at this rare moment of unity.
Political leaders in Washington put politics aside for a morning to take time to pray together.
Give him the insight that he needs, give him joy in the task, and use him for your kingdom's sake and for our nation and world's sake.
In a powerful moment, Republican Senator James Lankford and Democrat Chris Coons held hands with the president and prayed.
We ask that your wisdom, your blessing, and your peace would be upon him and his family as they serve us.
A tradition they lead each week in their bipartisan Senate prayer group.
It's fascinating to me the number of times that I'll have someone come up to me back when I'm back home in Oklahoma and will say, okay, I saw such and such person on TV, they drive me crazy. And I'll often smile at them and go, yeah, we stop and pray together every week. And very often the response is, really? you pray with that person?
Guy? The leaders intentionally steered clear of politics for this event.
We could focus on dozens of different divisive things. Instead, we're going to focus on what I believe has united Americans from the very founding of this country, which is a belief in God and a belief that this is a country with a creator and with a common sense of purpose that we can best find through prayer.
President Trump opened his remarks telling the audience full of religious leaders he stands with them.
I will never let you down.
Reminding them of his stance on religious freedom.
My administration has taken historic action to protect religious liberty.
And pledging to fight for faith-based adoption agencies, which have been under attack due to their biblical beliefs about marriage.
My administration is working to ensure that faith-based adoption agencies are able to help vulnerable children find their forever families while following their deeply held beliefs.
President Trump is the 12th president to speak at the annual breakfast since Dwight D. Eisenhower. Reporting from Washington, Abigail Robertson, CBN News.
Thanks, Abigail. Well, Israel and the world lost a champion of Jewish-Christian relations this week. Rabbi Akhil Eckstein, founder of the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, was laid to rest Thursday. CBN's John Wagi brings us that story from Jerusalem.
Hundreds came to pay tribute to the man known as the ultimate bridge builder. Mourners included U.S. Ambassador David Friedman and former Jerusalem Mayor Nir Barkat.
He was a man who understood the true hardships and challenges that exist for us and the distress in the state of Israel, and how to open the hearts of millions of donors around the world.
Rabbi Eckstein started the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews in 1983. Since then, it's raised more than $1.5 billion to help Jews in Israel, the former Soviet Union, Latin America, and more than 58 other countries.
I think from the very beginning, I remember when my brother went out to Chicago for the march in Skokie. It's the start of anti-Semitism in a different way in America. And the partners he found were the evangelical Christians.
Eckstein's daughter Yael carries on the family legacy as the global executive vice president.
There's one specific gift, Abba, which is the greatest gift I've received from you. It's the commitment to hold family over everything else in the world.
Eckstein's younger brother Beryl told CBN News that the more he saw his brother's work, the more he understood and loved it.
Wherever Akhil went, there was a bond, especially with Pat Robertson, who was such an influence on Akhil's life, and I think Akhil was on his. That love, that shared mission was something that I and my whole family cherish.
Eckstein pursued 3 goals: build bridges between Christians and Jews, deepen Christian understanding of the Jewish roots of their faith, and develop a practical way to help the Jewish people and Israel. Rabbi Eckstein is survived by his wife Joelle, 3 daughters, and 8 grandchildren.
The memory I always have of my brother is him praying, and whenever I was weak, he was always there to hold my hands.
John Wagi, CBN News, Jerusalem.
A man who's left behind a profound and lasting impact. Gordon?
Oh, the world has lost a great man. He was definitely a principal bridge builder between the evangelical community and the Christian community. A dear friend of mine, dear friend of my father's. We mourn his passing and we wish his family comfort in their time of grief.